Thank you so much for clicking on this video. Thank you for joining me today. And let me ask you right here at the top of the video for you to like, to subscribe to the channel, to even leave a comment. Leave a comment to let me know what kinds of practices you need. What sorts of emotional needs, physical needs do you need in your next practice? Or let me know how you experienced this one. And let's stay connected. Today's practice is a Yin Yoga practice focused on grief, the emotion of grief, and working in particular with the lung meridian. Now, if you're not into hearing about the lung meridian, you just want to get into the practice, check out the timestamps in the description below the video and you can just skip on forward to the practice right now. But if you want to stick around and think a little bit about the lung meridian with me and how that may help us in how we cope with grief, deal with grief, process grief, then stick around for just a few moments here and we'll talk about it. Meridians are sort of energy lines, pathways through the body where energy that, yes, helps the organs they're associated with to function, but also have a psychological, perhaps even spiritual impact on our lives. These energy channels can be balanced or thrown off of balance, either by things that are happening inside of us physically or things that are going on outside, or a combination. So in many of our Yin Yoga practices, the meridians that are being stimulated can help to move certain emotional experiences through the body and also help to heal the organs, rebalance the organs and the energy channels associated with them that lead to some of these emotions being maybe blocked or hard to work through or overwhelming, heavy in our lives. Now, sometimes the idea of meridians, of energy, is sort of hard to buy into, and if that's you, absolutely don't worry. You can still benefit from this practice by having the perspective of when we are in a state of grief, sadness, the body is going to respond in certain ways, just with muscle tension, maybe through hips, through shoulders. Our breathing can definitely become constricted anytime we're in shock, disbelief, we're feeling overwhelmed. We're going to have certain things happen with us, maybe in terms of our sleeping, our eating, either sleeping and eating a lot more than usual, a lot less than usual, having to be disturbed in some ways. And all of those body functions that get thrown off in grief can be cared for, healed by just taking some conscious time to open up the areas of the body that are becoming really tense and helping them to work a little bit better. But if you like the idea of meridians, it can be useful to think about that energy and how the energy shifts in our body, how our body uses energy differently depending on the challenges that we're facing and how balanced the body is in those challenges. So the lungs, our breathing organ, pulling in air, letting go of things that our body no longer needs. On an energetic level, this area of the body can be seen as really important in how we're letting things go. So in terms of grief and loss, this is trying to find a way to let something go that maybe we're holding on to. The reason why I love to work with the idea of meridians and energy, particularly with something like grief, is that it relieves us of the intellectual responsibility of trying to decide if I should let go, what if I let go, is it right or wrong to let go, and just letting the body go through its process, knowing that the lungs, the body, your emotions do want to be balanced. If we just give them the right opportunity, that will happen. So the lungs, the air that we breathe, the respiration, therefore the lung meridian, is also seen as a really important interface that we have between our internal world and the external physical world. Our breath is the first thing that we take in this life, and the lungs are that important part of our body that is taking in and letting go constantly. That process has to be in balance, both in a physical sense and in a psychological and spiritual sense. In this practice, I've thrown in a couple of poses that really work with the liver and gallbladder meridian as well. And that meridian runs down the inside of the legs and on the outside of the hips. The lung meridian, by the way, is running inside the arm all the way from kind of the chest all the way down into the hand, the thumb. And the reason why I've decided to include some of the liver and gallbladder is, for me personally, I feel like it gives a good balance in my own experiences of loss and grief. It's not just overwhelming sadness, of difficulty letting go, but also anger and frustration that is an important part of grief, something to move through, to process. And the liver and the gallbladder are seen as those areas, those meridians where anger can become imbalanced. And so I feel like this is a good complement together, as well as the shapes just feeling kind of nice all together. Now, assuming that you've clicked on this video because you are going through a healing process, let me just give you a few reminders when it comes to taking a trauma-informed approach for yourself. If you're going to be trauma-informed in this practice, that means deciding ahead of time that you're going to focus on the breath more than anything, not worrying about what the shape looks like, letting go of the idea of getting a deep stretch and maybe just having the idea of, I want to feel, I want to be in the here and now, and to invite understanding and wisdom to come up from the body rather than from down in the head. What that can look like in a moment by moment experience with yin yoga or any yoga practice can be to just start to notice when we're feeling physically overwhelmed, psychologically, emotionally overwhelmed, and take a few moments of breath and reflection, then making a wise choice. What's the most effective thing for me to do right now? Maybe to stay and slow my breath, maybe to ease out of the posture gently. Maybe it's okay to ease out for a bit and then go back in when we feel it's okay. Maybe we need to switch it up altogether. Always, always, always through this practice, through any other practices, take it at your pace, take it at your level of comfort. If I'm asking you to do something that is not working in your body that day, leave it out, skip ahead, or do something completely different. Being trauma-informed means that you're not going to see this as a hard and fast instruction that you're getting, but simply as kind of a loose blueprint. Maybe try, feel, see what happens, see what comes up, and always be okay just to even walk away from the practice altogether and come back to it another day, another time. So let's get into this practice today for healing grief and working with the lung meridian. Let's get started. I have my yoga mat here. For a practice like this, you do not even need a traditional yoga mat. You could use a towel, a blanket. You could use several blankets if you wish to get really comfortable and add that extra padding. I think in particular with overwhelming emotions, we do need that extra support. So feel free to pile around as many pillows, blankets, towels as you need. We will need something for later on that can provide a little bit of height underneath our shoulders. And so I have a yoga block, but if you don't have a yoga block, just get something that can create some height. So some ideas could be a book. You could take some towels, wrap them up so that they're a little bit firm and provide a little bit of height. Even this high would be good enough. Even like that height doesn't need to be that height. Or even a pillow or a couple of pillows that you can roll up can create some good height. So something. And I have a pillow as well just for some comfort, but again, also you may want no pillow, you may want several pillows. It's all depending on how you feel. So as we begin, let's just start with a little short few moments to center. I am going to sit on top of my pillow just to give a bit of comfort and height, crossing the legs. If you would like to sit in a different shape or you'd like to even lay down or come to your child's pose, feel free. What we want to start by doing is just becoming very still, and inviting awareness back into the body, starting with your breath. Allow the hands to rest somewhere. Maybe we get a few wiggles and wobbles out through the shoulders, just lengthening through the spine, rolling the shoulders back. And perhaps the eyes can close. Just watch your breath. In whatever state it is in, it may be quick, it may be shallow, it may be very soft and hard to notice. We're just watching the breath roll in and roll out. And let everything else, where the mind goes, thoughts, ideas, let them all fall away as if we are just watching waves roll in and roll out, like we would if we were at the seaside, at the ocean, just watching them go. Maybe after a few minutes of observation, you may be able to just deepen slightly, invite a little bit more air in, and take your time letting it go. Just using this time to anchor yourself to the breath. We're also being kind and aware that when we're distressed or in turmoil, that our connection with the present moment, with our breath, it comes and it goes. So always seeing the next inhale, the next moment as an opportunity to come back. Now feel free to stay exactly where you are, but if you'd like to connect with the rhythm of the breath a little bit more, the movement of the lungs, option to place a hand on your heart, maybe one hand on your belly, and just feel the movement through the fingers. Another idea, if it works for you, is to place your hands on the outside of your ribs. And as you inhale, feel the expansion. And as you exhale, feel the letting go, the release. your next inhale, begin to release those hands wherever they are. Hear my dog barking, trying to protect. Whenever I hear that, I sort of think that's what our body does. That's what our physical mind does. It tries to kind of go a little bit loud and protect us. I'm going to try to cut out some of that barking in the video as much as I can. Let's slowly transition to our hands and our knees. And maybe take the knees a little bit wide. Maybe the toes can touch. And then let the hips sink down and back towards the heels behind you. It doesn't matter if they touch or not. If you're finding there's a lot of space there and you want some support, you can put your pillow or blanket underneath. You could even put that in front of you, because we're going to take the hands out and just begin to lower the head. Once we find the shape, drop into your observation. Watching the rise and fall of the breath. And also the sensations in the body. If you feel some discomfort here and there, that's actually a good place to be. Maybe we feel the compression through the knees, with the low back, or with the knees wide perhaps through the inner thighs. That's where that liver meridian is running. And you may be able to just creep those hands out and feel a stretch through the arms, all the way to the thumb, the fingertips. Good guideline for any yin practice is to go to a place where you feel something. No pain, definitely not pain, but some sort of sensation, a stretch, compression is good, is okay. Because that means that the area of the body that we're trying to open, perhaps the meridians, the energy channels we're trying to balance, they're being stimulated. That's what we want. Tense muscles that have been holding on, letting go. Just notice how slowly, as you breathe, the body releases little by little. Taking perhaps 5 more slow breaths, deepening into the shape if that's available to you.
And the transition in and out of all of these shapes, we want to make it nice and slow. So perhaps just starting to bring the hands a little bit closer. Perhaps rising up, releasing that compression through the knees, bringing the knees a little bit closer together. And then releasing, maybe just being still in our tabletop, maybe a little side to side, maybe some cat-cow to open up through the back. You can use an inhale to lift up through the heart, arch through the back, lift the chin. And as you exhale, you can round through the spine, tuck the chin in. You can continue with that motion or anything else you feel you need. Eventually, we're going to settle into our hands and our knees. And beginning to take that right leg, we can reach it out behind us and slowly start to ease that right foot to the ground near the top of the mat. Now, sometimes it lands back here and we have to take a few steps, maybe even using that hand to help it up top. Those back toes, back foot, we can wiggle away a little bit until we find this deep stretch through the front of one thigh and the inside of the thigh through the back glute there. And this is where your props can be handy as well. If this is too much, putting something underneath your hands to lift a little bit can help. So a block or a pillow. If you can go into it deeper, sometimes we can release down, elbows to the earth or onto the pillow. And your right knee might be pushing out a little bit, opening. Maybe rolling onto the outside of that right foot. And once we find sensation, then come to your breath. There will be some intense sensations here. And we just use the breath to tolerate, that breath is an anchor. Maybe imagine bringing the inhale, sending it to the areas where you feel the most. As you exhale, just imagine something being let go, something releasing. Let your face be soft. Taking maybe 5 more slow breaths. And being very slow and cautious as we ease out, the hands place slowly one by one. Maybe pausing there, bending through that back leg to support you, easing the right knee back. Maybe some stillness, maybe some movement as you let those hips recover. Breathe. The next shape, we'll keep the knees underneath those hips. So the hips staying above the knees, like we have in our tabletop. Taking an inhale, and as you exhale, begin to walk the hands forward. Those hands will come forward as far as your body can allow. Maybe the forehead rests on the earth. You can obviously put something underneath the head to help you. Another option is if you need more, if you're not feeling sensation, you could put something underneath the wrists, under the hands, like your pillow. And the sensation that we're looking for, you may feel it in different areas, is that stretch, stimulation through the arms into the chest. And perhaps as you breathe, we can just let that chest come closer and closer to the earth. Opening up through the heart. Easing in deeper to the shape, if you have any space for that. Maybe the heart can drop closer, maybe the head closer to the earth, maybe the chin. And then slowly crawling those hands closer to the body. Being very slow in your transition up. Maybe taking some time to sit onto those heels. Or returning to your tabletop. Just those areas that opened up, let them just settle. Take a few breaths.
We're going to give the same attention and love to our left leg. If you're not already there, coming back to that tabletop. And when you're ready, extend the left heel, left leg out behind you. Find some length and slowly find a way to guide that foot to the top of the mat, the outside of the hands. Maybe finding a little bit more depth by easing the back knee, back toes, wiggle back. And decide whether you need something under the hands, whether there's any depth that you can come down into those arms. Or maybe there's a pillow or blanket or block under the elbows that can help you. Finding that sensation, that intensity, and then returning to your breath. Finding stillness and breath, even in discomfort. It's exactly the skill that we need in times of grief, of loss. Maybe just your 5 final breaths here. Use them well. Relax your shoulders and your neck, your face. And then being very slow and gentle in the transition. No sudden, fast movements, no rushing. Pausing here and there just to notice and observe. The next place we're going to head is to laying on our stomach. I'm just going to turn my head this way because I'm avoiding the hot sun. So easing yourself down. And perhaps I'll just show you this way for a moment. Once we get to our belly, we're going to extend the right arm out long. Or if I do this way, then it looks correct on your end. And the left hand is going to place under the shoulder. So flat on our belly, the palm is down of that right hand. The left hand supporting you. Find your breath. And then using an inhale, start to press into the left hand so we roll onto the right shoulder, onto the right side of the body. And we might just stack those legs. You can obviously bend them if you need a little more support. Or if you want to go deeper, you can take that top left leg and ease it behind you
bending the knee, reaching the foot up and over to help your body to roll. The same thing with the left hand. It can stay exactly where it is, or it might wrap around the low back. So in this shape, we're going to be feeling that deep, intense stretch from maybe the collarbone area, the heart, the chest, down the inside of the arm, maybe even into the thumb. And that's exactly where we want to open, to balance, to release. So breathe into that sensation. Can always be helped and facilitated by relaxing our face and our jaw, even closing the eyes, and just observe. Like when we're overwhelmed, we're in grief, even in anger, we're struggling to make sense. We're in our intellectual mind, thinking our way through, looking for a solution. And our yin practice is much more just a passive. I'm not saying it doesn't hurt or we have no feeling or that it's okay, but that we find the area that needs help, support, and then we meet it without words, without thinking, just with breath, focus, observation, breath. It's a different way of solving a problem. After experiencing the shape for a little bit, you find that there's somewhere deeper you can go. So maybe for this last little bit, maybe the arm can wrap. There's more of a twist and opening. Perhaps the depth that you're finding is just between the ears, a more relaxed mind, more focused on our breath. Maybe 3 more slow breaths. And if you have the left hand wrapped or the left foot step behind, slowly unwrap that hand, slowly unwind that leg, and be very mindful and gentle as you come back to center. Just coming to rest on your belly and perhaps just leaving that right arm out long. Just feel the circulation, blood flow. Maybe imagine the meridian balancing, opening. And slowly, if you haven't done so already, bringing that right arm in, turning the head to the right side. That left arm is going to extend. Right hand plants. Take a few breaths there, just preparing yourself. And when you're ready, use an inhale to press into that right hand, rolling onto your left side. Be very kind to yourself that each side is different. How we carry our bodies, where we store our attention is going to become obvious when we try to open up right and left. If you feel something different here, don't try to force it into the same as the other side. It's part of our trauma-informed mindset as well. So we just deal with what's there rather than forcing, pushing, fighting. Keep letting that breath bring you back. And as you breathe, maybe sensations ease. That allows any more space to move in a little bit further into the shape. Or to let go of tension somewhere, forehead, or the jaw. Those last few breaths. And again, being very cautious, mindful as you unwind. If the hand was wrapped, use it to support you. Rolling back onto the belly, taking a few moments there of stillness. And slowly coming to center, pushing up into the hands. Finding our way to seated. And taking the legs out wide onto the mat. Here, some of the props that might feel good for you is to raise the hips up a little bit, sit on the pillow, sit on top of the block, and or having those props in front of you or by your side so that you can rest on them, you can reach for them. So deciding what you need. If the back feels very curved here, then your answer is to sit on top of something, letting the hips rise up will help with this shape a little bit more. It is challenging, so don't judge. And once we get here, just find a few breaths. Maybe being still, maybe you want a little bit of movement, a little rotation through those hips, just feeling out what's there. And then your right hand, we're going to start to take down the right leg. Now it can rest on top of the leg. Some of you may find that the arm will come to the inside, the elbow, the forearm can rest. Some of our bodies feel really good taking it to the outside. Other choices are our block or pillow, whatever it is. Maybe that's a little bit higher. If we need more height, we can place it there, inside or outside. But some way to lean over towards the right. Imagine turning your heart towards the window, the wall, towards the side of the room, towards me. See if we can keep this left hip grounded and down on the earth. So don't go so far that the hip comes away. And then we'll have a few breaths where we see if we can take left arm up and over. If this is not causing any kind of pain, stay here. If there is pain, maybe in the shoulder, you can take the arm around the back. But we won't be here terribly long, so if it's just discomfort, then maybe the arm can reach up and over. Sometimes we find that we can reach for that toe. Carefully, carefully, we're going to inhale, take that arm up to center, back down, slowly raise up, come to center. And maybe take a few moments here with eyes closed. Just notice the difference between right and left. Maybe you can even feel where we've stretched a bit through the muscles in between the ribs. Maybe there's more movement for air there. And then we're going to give the same love on the other side. So left hand, maybe on top of the leg, maybe one of our props, maybe inside or outside the leg is where you want to go. Take a moment to find it. Keeping that right hip down, and then see if we can inhale that right arm up and over. Maybe it stays in the air. Maybe it reaches for a foot. Keeping that heart turned towards the side. Once again, being very slow. So you take that arm up, overhead, release it, push up slowly. Take a few moments to observe here. And then we're going to take that little fold forward. Again, challenging shape, so using your props. Sometimes it's nice to have just like a little platform that you can ease yourself down towards. Another thing you can do is have that pillow, blanket block underneath the elbows to support you. But if that's not around or you don't want that, it's okay just to work with where you're at, even if just the hands are on the ground. Slowly as you breathe, sometimes the elbows can touch down. And a great tip when we're trying to get the elbows to touch down is imagine turning the elbows out and touch. Sometimes it just gives us a little bit more confidence that, oh, the ground's right there, it feels a little bit closer. But go where we feel sensation now, the inside of the thighs, the back of the thighs. This liver meridian. Being stimulated so it can be balanced. The liver and the meridian, so important for digestion. And I've often reflected in my own grieving process how similar it is to digestion, in that we want it to just move through, so to speak, but it's going to be digested, be processed in its own time. And our job is really just to wait with patience, to support ourselves in other ways as much as possible. Rest, water, connection, breath. But like digestion, sometimes there's very little that we can do to speed it up, slow it down. Being patient. If there's anywhere that you can melt in further for the last little bit, you know, if you can, if the sensation has eased somewhat, then that means there might be more space. Always seeking out that little edge of discomfort. And as it moves, then you move. Once again, the transition slow and mindful. Just start by easing a little into the hands, slowly crawling the back, not rushing. Perhaps take a moment just right there. We're going to turn. If you have gone to the long side of your mat, coming back to the so-called normal side. And here's where we need our little bit of height. We're going to have our supported fish pose. So if you have your block, go ahead and grab it, or rolled up pillows, blankets, whatever you can use as a platform. We're going to place the block or whatever you're using on the mat behind us so that when we lay back, it's going to roughly come between the shoulder blades, along the spine between the shoulder blades. I know it can be hard to figure out, well, where is that? Here's how we find a good spot is placing the feet on the ground, knees up, hands to support you, and then just start to ease yourself back, and you'll feel, where is it hitting? Do I need to move it up, down? Even if it's too high, rolling it down, making it smaller, so adjusting as you need with those hands. And then keep that motion going back and over that block. Letting the head just fall back. And again, that opening from that sort of heart, collarbone area down through the arms. And then just letting the head fall back. And again, that opening from that sort of heart, collarbone area down through the arms. And then just letting the head fall back. and the hips remaining on the earth. You have a choice to keep the hips right there. You have a choice to keep the legs as they are, bent, the feet supporting you. You may feel that it's nice to take them out long. That's an option as well. Another choice is to bring the soles of the feet together, the knees out to the side like a little butterfly legs. Last few breaths. Slow them. And as you prepare to move, planting the feet on the earth if they're not there already, those knees bent. Bringing the hands closer, sometimes even tucking the hands under the tailbone and pushing the elbows in can help us start to tuck the chin. And roll away from the block, maybe rolling forward to the side. Move that block out to the side and then release your body down onto the earth. Maybe the palms can turn up. Just let the ground, the earth, hold you in our final shape.
If your day allows you to stay longer, then please do. Stay in your Shavasana as long as you can. If your day demands that you move on, then start to feel your breath once more. Draw in a nice deep inhale. Nice long exhale. And as we inhale, maybe a big stretch. Reach up, point the toes. And as you exhale, maybe bending the knees, planting the feet, or even drawing the knees in towards the body, giving yourself a hug. A little rock and a roll in the low back. Again, choices stay there. Or maybe roll onto the side of your body. And rest there for a bit. When we're ready, slowly guiding yourself up to seated. The hands feel good resting on the knees, then that's the place to put them. If you feel like bringing the hands in front of the heart, then bring them there. May you be happy, may you be healthy, may you be free from pain and suffering. The light in me honors and bows to the light in you. Namaste. Thank you so much for practicing with me. And until next time, be well.